podcast that we're doing for portfolio and professional practice. My name is Maeve Rohling.
My name is Hope Whittington.
And my name is Oropeza.
Gutierrez,
yeah.
We are getting ready to answer our 20 interview questions where we're just going to do a round robin style of talking about said questions and maybe how we would like to answer them, maybe how we feel about the questions as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can probably just get started with the first question and then see where we kind of want to go with this.
Mm-hmm.
So our first question we have written down for something like this is, what have you been up to? So Hope, where do you get started?
So lately I've been working on an industrial design project for my senior studio, and it surrounds livestock. And right now I'm making a bag that you're able to not take exactly every single tool that normally farmers or livestock operators have with them, but they get to minimize it down to just like the specific tools. And right now it is geared toward calving season. So it's been fun trying to work with that. I've been doing a lot more with like catting, and that's been a really big learning process and experience. And yeah, I can't wait to get to finish it up here soon.
Is designing for farmers or for animals something that you want to get into? Is that kind of what you would consider to be, I guess, your dream job?
Yeah. Recently, I've noticed that all of my previous projects in the past 2 years have been animal based, so designing for animals. And I grew up on a farm, and I just can't seem to get away from it. And I love designing for the animals and just like the life that I grew up around. I think I would love to get into something that makes products for either making the humans like tasks easier, or just like designing specifically for animals.
Okay.
Nice.
Maeve, what have you been up to?
I have also been working on my senior project, which is not for animals, sadly. I'm designing work boots for women, specifically in the more cowboy-esque style, so that's where me and Hope get along quite a bit.
Heck yeah.
I have had an experience trying to do what little CAD I know how to do as far as slicing up models of feet and then putting them out through the CNC and gluing them back together, and then doing leather working, which is something that I'm passionate about and have been doing for the past 3 years now, which is crazy. I just recently ran into a big hurdle with that project, being the machines that could sew these together. Every leather project I have done in my 3 years has been sewn by hand, and I was hoping and praying to whatever God you believe in and that I believe in, that I could do one project where I wouldn't have to sew it by hand. And alas, it will not happen. So I am, once again, stitching everything together by hand.
And is that because the machine just broke down and no one can come replace?
It's a combination of that, and the machines that we have aren't meant for doing what I need them to do. And I don't have the time to go out and buy another machine.
Or money, are you kidding me? We're college kids.
Yeah. Living La Vida Loca. Elian, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to?
What have you been doing?
That's crazy, because I've also been working on my senior project.
Oh my God.
Yeah, isn't it? It's we all live very interesting, very related lives.
That's so insane.
So my senior project has been designing a outreach experience for industrial design, either departments or professionals, university departments, university programs, to go out to high schools and kind of just spread the word of industrial design to students that might be interested in a career path that entails doing the things that we do, the skills that we have, all the general areas that we touch. But from my personal experience and things I've talked to almost every industrial designer I've talked to, nobody really even heard about industrial design when they were in high school. It's very rare for them to even hear about it, because high schools either don't know about it or their advisors are just not telling these kids about that stuff. It usually is leading them to becoming engineers or going into the trades when maybe their skills are exactly what we need in the industrial design world. So my project is kind of embodying everything that I've done with all the skills that I've learned through design and engineering, and then putting them into this experience to bring into classrooms and bring into events and stuff for kids to learn what industrial design is and hopefully get them into our classrooms.
And what brought you to doing a senior project based on experience design for kids?
So I've been working with kids since I started college, and I used to volunteer in mentoring children when I was in high school, which technically I was a child also, but I was mentoring kids from middle schoolers, kids in like 7th, 8th grade, while I was like a junior in high school and sophomore in high school. So that got me interested in mentoring kids that were younger than me to kind of like help them not make the mistakes that I did when I was in their place. And I also loved seeing like those kids like ultimately succeed, and like at the end of the year if they were struggling in like a certain class or something that I helped them with. And then once I started college, I coached soccer to various ages of children, and then I most recently provided respite care for one specific child for about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. And that I feel made the biggest impact for me to want to design for the experience of children and designing for kids.
I think this project's great. Like, I think it's like so empowering that you are able to go and like make a difference in like these younger kids' lives just by showing them what else is out there. Because you're right, industrial design like is small. It is growing, I think. The last 2 years, it seems like the classes have been getting bigger, but just being able to show what children's like capabilities or like even their imagination, like what could they do, right? And you're going to be filling your project like with other projects to show them like either what machines they can use or media, right?
Yeah. So the project has, I mean, it's a whole like building this whole experience. So based on the experience, there's multiple parts to it. So I created a kind of modular like kit so they can bring in not only like a slideshow, because although those are boring, they're still necessary. Mm-hmm. But bringing this different demonstrations to the children so that they can talk about it. They can talk about industrial design through the demonstrations. And it's like a kind of like a 3-part experience coming into a classroom. Classes are like 50 minutes long now. So for the first like 10, 15 minutes, it's talking to them about what industrial design is, what we do, how we do it, what tools we use. And then 30 minutes of them running through this competition of hopping into teams to compete against each other on designing something or redesigning a product for that they are like in touch with. So that they also become designers. Even for that 30 minutes, they become designers and get excited about design. And then one of the biggest things we do, especially nowadays, is 3D printing. So I designed a 3D printing like carry box where all the parts are made with everything in our tool, in our shop. Like that 3D printer box I made with every single machine in our shop to put it all together.
So we're going to move on to the second question. Maeve, why are you interested in this position?
What position are you applying to right now, since we're all graduating in the next couple of weeks? Mm-hmm. What position are you either applying to, or what would be like your dream job that you've seen that's actually like on the market right now?
So I've seen some internships that you actually sent me for Roper, which is a boot brand. And they're looking for an intern, but they're really looking for a non-graduating intern that they're going to keep for 12 weeks. And so I ended up writing a letter of interest, and I told them about my senior project, which is just focused on designing boots, and I brought up my experience in doing the Western tooling design that is pretty prevalent with their women's line right now. They're really trying to bring back the good old-fashioned traditional tool work and twirls and filigree, if you will, as you call it in the business. So that's my interest in this position. Eileen, what would you like to tell us about your interview that went really well the other day?
I applied to this position a few weeks back for this company called 3D Systems, specifically in their orthopedic line. So what they basically design is kind of what I had as an idea when I first came into industrial design, which was designing prosthetics. This team designs orthopedic replacements for people. So if anyone needs like a custom piece to replace like an ankle or a femur or something like that, they will come to this company because they not only design those parts and manufacture them, but they also make the printers that make those parts. It's this huge company, and it's this team down in Colorado. So I think it's really cool because it could get me closer to that dream that I had of designing prosthetics for people, and like even that specifically for children.
So Eileen's over here making replacement bones.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be best friends with all of our parents forever.
Yeah.
So, Hope, what are you applying to, and why are you interested in that position?
I did apply to a veterinary clinic down where I'll be living, and I did get the job. So
You
that's
got it?
Oh yeah, I got the job. It's pretty awesome.
Congrats.
Thank you. Again though, like I won't really be able to use my design abilities, but being able to then work around and with animals, I think that can really help just my experience and understanding of maybe what I could be doing for them. But if I was out looking for my dream job, I would be wanting to apply to any kind of, maybe even like a manufacturer that is making the products for livestock. The reason for interest is because I've been around it for so long, and that's exactly like what I want to do, and I want to still be with it. And I just like understand everything, and like all my people that surround me, like back home, friends and family, they are really good like insiders as well because they see more sides of it than I do. So having just a great community for that, just like it just helps me and pushes me more, and like I just want to keep striving to help them, helping the people I care about. Like that's just what I want to do, I guess.
I love that. So, Hope, why are you interested in the company that you applied for?
I was interested in that company not only because they're the only veterinary clinic, but it was also an opening job, and it had my interest, which is the animals. It didn't really matter, like I could have applied to more, but I want to work with something that will help me later on, whether that is going to be an industrial design job or just a design job or anything. It could even help me, like if I end up purchasing some livestock and animals, like I think it would help me, like just like if they're sick, like anything that I need to do, I think it'll just help me later on down the line of life. And I also know that they have a pretty great community there, which is something that I care about.
Why would you be interested in that company?
I grew up around boots started with my younger brother. We call him the cowboy. And he has this fascination with all these different types of cowboy boots, which then in turn got me and my mom fascinated with cowboy boots. And it's always been something that would interest me as far as leatherworking, but having something with leatherworking that would actually make money and be less of like a hobby or a craft. And I quite like the design elements of the Roper brand being, you know, the filigree and the tooling that I was talking about earlier.
I think it's great because I also think like leather is definitely coming back. So
Yeah.
it's pretty hot and in, not just like boots, but like all things.
Yeah, like your very cool purse that you showed me earlier.
Yeah. It is
'Cause
very
it's,
cool.
yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of like old trends that are coming back, like trends from like the 80s and like the like disco and stuff, like the oversized jeans.
Well, fashion just
Yeah.
recycles.
I think everything does. It's like when we
Yeah.
were taking Matt's history class. Shout out Mr. Professor Obink.
Obinker.
Obinker. Shout out Mr. Matt. When he would have us look at all the different things from history, and then he'd always drill into our minds that every 30 years it recycles. So the 90s are in right now.
Yeah, the 90s are coming back.
Mm.
Even I mean that style of music as well is coming back too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of artists take on the old, like the very early 90s style of rap with like the cadence that they use.
Okay, crazy, but I went to like my friend's dance recital. It was Dub H, and it was the theme was hip hop. So all the songs were old hip hop and whatnot. And then they had like these little breaks, and they would have people from the crowd come on up, and well, there was this one break, and it was they asked some questions. Is like stuff that I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can answer it. I think I answered every single question correctly, and I have no idea, but like one of them, it was like, who's an artist that it was some year, and it's like that it was they were really not so great, and then they had like this huge break, and they became really popular, and then there was multiple choice, so they listed off the names, and I'm like, oh, it's definitely Drake, because I'm so sorry, but he was not good, and then he had like one hit, and he like blew up after that.
Yeah, and then he had the beef with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So, Elian, why are you interested in the 3D solutions?
3D systems.
3D, my apologies, 3D systems.
Yeah, come on.
I'm sorry.
I think they just needed a 3D designer, and they required the tools and stuff that I knew how to do. For one, this company is really interesting because they do not only like healthcare, like the stuff, but they also do aerospace and automobile industry. So whenever they need like very, very custom parts for like an aerospace task or assembly, they will reach back out to them. And this company, for one, is huge. So there's a certain level of job security when a company is so big, but you're in a team that's so important. And the location also. I mean, my dream location is to end up at a place that is similar to the weather and like this style of where I'm from in Mexico. And Colorado has almost the exact same weather, but it's also close enough to a city. That is something that I like. I am from the city in Mexico. I also lived close enough to Chicago when I was in high school. So I just had a really good interview with the hiring manager / the manager of the team that I would be working for. And I, for one, thought it was a very successful interview because I think, for one, the fact that we went so over the time that they scheduled for that. The interview was supposed to have maybe like 20, 30 minutes, and we went for like an hour, like just under an hour.
Heck yeah.
So for one, I feel like that's like a sign of a successful interview, not because like I would talk for so long, but because we were talking for so long that like he even skipped over some of the HR mandated questions to ask me specifics about my personal experience and my job experience as well.
Yeah, that's kind of how my interview also went. Like I just kept talking, and they just kept asking, and I just kept going, and then, yeah. So is there like another step? Do you have like another interview, or will you just be getting like a yay or nay call?
Kind of what they told me is that the latter. The guy said I went through this interview with for like the first half of it was mainly and so he was asking his questions that he wanted to ask. And then he started asking he's like, oh, sorry, I know we're like a little short on time because there was like maybe 10 minutes left to the actual interview time, but I got to ask you this like HR mandated questions. And then he starts going through like the HR ones, the typical HR stuff. And then at the end of it, he's like, hey, I also have some extra questions if you're okay with that. And I'm like, yeah. And then I asked him my questions too, and we went for like an hour. And then at the end of it, he pretty much told me, yeah, I still got like 2 more people to interview on this day and this day, which I feel like it's rare for some. Like a hiring manager usually doesn't tell you how many interviews they got left.
Yeah.
But also he's like, yeah, so we should be getting back to you if you got this job by the end of the following week,
Okay.
by the end of next week. And then he'll let me know, and that'll be pretty much the yay or nay, whether I got the job or not. And then he'll give me like the timeline of when they need me there by, and how they can help me out to get there.
I know I had a friend that was like messaged me, and she's like, hey, like I got my second interview with this company, and she was like asking me some help for like what would be some like interview questions and like how to go about that, and she ended up getting the job. So
Oh, good.
yeah, because it was a really short second interview, because there's like the two candidates that they liked. So yeah,
Yeah, and that makes sense if they're like so close
yeah,
that they really need to talk to you again.
yeah,
That for one, I mean, that would feel good because they're like, yeah, these two guys are really close. So I would feel like I need to even nail the second interview even more, because technically that would be like a third interview, because they do, companies like this, they're like their phone screening. The HR people call you first, to do like a vibe check of you and like make sure that you didn't lie in your resume.
oh,
And then they ask you, or they will tell you about next steps, or most of them would tell me next steps, and then they will reach out to me like a week later for another interview, or a few days later for another interview with like now the actual hiring manager and all that stuff. This one company, the lady called me and then immediately said, when are you available for an interview? For like an actual interview with a hiring manager. And I was like, can I get back to you on that? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes silence and like you being in control of the interview gives you that power to kind of make that decision. And if you're like a little too quick about it, then you keep the ball on their court. I end this call, and then she texts me right away from her personal phone number. She goes, oh, yeah, sorry, I just thought you were in Illinois, so it will be a Teams interview. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Yeah.
What do you like most about your current job there, Elian?
My current job, so I'm currently working as a student contract industrial designer at Vermeer. I've been working at Vermeer for the last year and a half now. I think I made a year and a half this month. And it's been honestly an incredible experience. I have learned so much more than I even expected to. I think I originally came into that job expecting to be their like CAD monkey, because they hired me because of my engineering experience and my engineering like background, and I ended up doing so much more there that I ever anticipated to do, and I ended up learning so much more about the industry, the things that I can do with the programs that I thought I was already like an expert at. And also I started doing things that even during this interview for this one company, they didn't expect me to have experience with that. Like they thought it was rare for me to have experience using certain tools or certain machines or knowing how to do certain things. And also our team is incredible. The team at Vermeer, whether it's our direct team or some of the people we work alongside for certain projects, like the engineers, the executives, the marketing people, everyone there they're incredible people. And our team especially, they're so cool. This is a question that I never expected to be asked in an interview, but for my interview with 3D Systems, the guy asked me, like, what's a good experience you've had with, like, what's an experience you've had with, like, a good boss, an experience you've had with, like, a bad boss? And I tried to think back on, like, all the jobs that I worked, and I've never really had, like, a bad boss that I just, like, hated. So I kind of just had to go with, like, talk about my experience with my current boss and things that I've, like, kind of, okay, I guess, clashed with them on, and things that I've, like, felt that I've gone really well with them. Because this team is just so cool. And well, a lot of the work that I do is, like, I am still, like, somewhat their CAD monkey. Mm-hmm. Like, I have come in to help them kind of, like, breach a gap between the engineering team and the design team, where sometimes there would be, they would send them a sketch, like any design team would, and then they would get back to CAD and be like, that's nothing at all like what we had thought, like what we had envisioned as our design, and then have to go back and forth for weeks with that engineering team to finally get an enclosure, what they want as the final design. And now I just do that, and then we break that cycle. I do all their key shot work and stuff, and then as well, I also like as any industrial designer has to do, I sketch. But I've also done like materials research, materials testing. What about you, Maeve? What do you like about your current job?
So I've been working at Vermeer as a contracted student industrial designer. I was originally hired for the research team, which is the same building, the same room as what Elian works in. And I worked in that role for a couple months. And then eventually not my supervisor, but your supervisor saw that I was very interested in doing more hands-on project and less like website design. And he was like, hey, can we have her? And then the next day I walked in and he goes, all right, I'm your supervisor now. And I'm like, whoa, hang on, what? You're now on the machine design team and this is your next project. And it's been the greatest experience in an office. As you were talking about our boss, David, we love him. Shout out David. And he is so invested in us as workers and us as students, where he will make sure that if we're struggling in a class, he will take time out of his day and walk us through that class and what we need to know and what he thinks we should know. And he said it time and time again, he feels responsible for what we're learning about, but they take such good care of us there.
How do you feel about moving over to like the machine design? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned before that you know little about CAD. Like, what are your tasks then?
Yeah, my tasks they align a lot with research. I was originally hired for like just diving into research methods and helping them sort through interviews, hours and hours and hours of transcripts and interviews and just writing everything down. And my role still sometimes can be a little bit like that, but it's more of finding out the minutia of big machines that they're working on and why people like them, why people don't like them, what they're willing to pay, what goes wrong with them. And that's my biggest task. My other tasks are just like little teeny tiny aspects of sketching. I don't do as much sketching as Elian, but every once again they'll drag me in and go, hey, if you have time and you're not working on this presentation about why people love our skid steer, if you had time to sketch a skid steer, we'd love to see it. Another aspect that we do, which I think is so funny, is just like the visual communication that is industrial design, where we are basically acting as a little marketing team for the executives. It has made us very proficient in the Adobe suite.
We got really good at Illustrator.
Illustrator, Photoshop is like my favorite thing now. InDesign.
Let's talk to you a little bit, Hope. What do you like most about your current job?
Where I was previously working was at Jack's Outdoor Gear. And oh my gosh, I loved it. I'm very thankful for my time at Jack's. They had the product that I wasn't all that aware about, right? So it was more like climbing gear and like backpacking, and it's like the whole other side of outdoor stuff that I know. So it's like I got to learn just more things. I went through so much training, so I got to learn more about like shoes and like footwear. And I knew quite a bit about clothing just because of my background and some schooling that I had for that. But I got to learn still more about like down and the difference between the down or the synthetic. But I loved helping them find like the best fit and product for the adventure that they're about to go on. And I got to like learn like through them and like just go on like this adventure in my head from the stories that they would tell. And so I was able to then take information from customers and then help other customers that had no idea what they were looking for, never been on a hiking trip or never been to like this certain kind of area or weather, and taking my knowledge from the training that I did with my amazing managers and just like stories and comments from customers that I dealt with and helping them find their next favorite like product. My manager knew that I love to display things, and so she let me like have full range, and I completely like tore down walls and then grabbed things from like everywhere and I put it together. And she loved that. She was like, wow, this is so much better. It's a lot more shoppable, and customers, you can actually see things. And yeah, I had a great time there.
I guess from our current jobs or past jobs, what do you think will be like the one skill or the one like set of skills that you think have been most important that you have gained through that work?
I personally think that I've gained a ton of like soft skills and being able to either reason or stay calm in like a stressful environment. I've worked a lot of retail, so I've had to deal with some stressed out customers.
Some characters for sure.
Characters for sure, yes. Not just that, but other previous jobs I've worked with time limits, time frames, and I've also had to deal with
quality inspection.
yes, quality inspection.
Okay.
Yeah. So just dealing with that and making sure that your work and other workers' work is good to go out, and just being able to deal with coworkers, like being able to be like, hey, like, can you help me with this, and not like being bossy and those kind of things. Just being able to have the right kind of language and skills with that while working with others, I think is like one of the biggest things to me, because I think language is huge whenever you're in a working environment. So, Maeve.
Ma'am.
I don't like it when you do that. It's scary. Like, so intimidating.
Little 5'2" me. Ma'am.
Ma'am.
What do you think? I know you were talking about how much you learned about Illustrator and the Adobe suite and all that stuff. But what do you think from even this job or in past jobs? What do you think was been like the most valuable skill or set of skills that you've gained through these jobs?
I think I've gotten really good at taking criticism and asking for criticism, because our bosses, we love them dearly. Sometimes I have to fight them to like actually tell me what they think about my work. For example, we have this big event coming up. As an incentive, my boss was trying to brainstorm what we could do. We could do like a little holiday party. Maybe we get lunch for them if they come into the office and they do this like event so I can gather information. And I am known in the office for being quite whimsical. So I go up, I'm like, David, what if we did an ugly sweater competition?
That is so me. I always try to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
and David, bless him, just looks at me like, well, I don't know if this is exactly the right crew for that. And I think he's scared of like shutting off my whimsy forever. So I looked at him, I'm like, David, you can tell me straight up, just yes or no.
The dead stare. I think
Just
as a boss, that would have like sent me and be like, fine.
Oh, he's so funny with it. I'll just look at him. David, you need to be straight with me right now. Are we good? Like, is this too much? Is this too whimsical for you? And he'll be like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, be straight with me. And he's like, yes, it's too whimsical, okay? And I'm like, thank you. And then I'll go back to my work.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's nice asking them to be direct, because whenever they're like passive and they don't want to shut you down and they're like trying to be nice, like, it's like, come on, just tell me how you feel, so then I don't ask again.
What about you, sir?
But I feel like one of the things that I've kind of gained through not just this job, but other jobs is just kind of advocating for myself, in the sense that, like you said, like asking people to like give me real feedback, but also even if I'm the intern, actually feeling comfortable with giving feedback myself. Because there's a lot of times where maybe we're talking about a topic that I am versed in and that I'm knowledgeable in, and maybe the rest of the team is not as knowledgeable in, or someone's just not saying there's something that just needs to be said. And I think one of projects that I've been working on at Vermeer has been working with like virtual reality. And I am a nerd for that. I mean, I've built computers. I have upgraded my own devices as well. And I have a VR headset for video games, but I have one that I've used sometimes for work stuff. And I have experience with just the VR environments in general. So me coming into this meeting, not as the intern, but more as like the person that knows a little bit more about this stuff, and pitching in and helping during this meeting, for one, impressed my employers, impressed my team, but also made me feel more comfortable with coming into a meeting. And even if I'm the new guy or I'm the intern, making it more feel like I'm part of the team rather than I'm just like the one that gets given the task that nobody else wants to do. So I guess we have all talked about like what our bosses are like or our supervisors.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And Allie, I'm going to stick with you on this
oh,
only because you were just talking about your past experiences with your jobs, and I know that you already mentioned about previous interviews where they asked maybe some problems or like if you've had a bad boss or like, and you always had one that you liked, but you would talk about like conflicts. So describe your ideal boss. Like, who do you want, like, what is your vision of someone that you like want to learn from or be working for?
yeah, I think honestly, I would describe my like ideal boss as really David or someone like David, because it's there. I think it also depends on the environment. Like, I feel like sometimes there's bosses that like the horror story bosses that people talk about tend to be people that are like in like retail, like bosses that are like
True.
so petty for no reason.
Yeah.
It feels like when you enter like the more professional world of even especially design, like you will get a better experience of your boss or your supervisor. But I think just someone that is knowledgeable in what they're doing, to not only act as a boss, like you expect a boss to know more than you do in some way, but also they're knowledgeable in what they're talking about because they have been in your place.
Yeah.
So they also understand like you're making certain mistakes because you have less experience and you're gaining that experience as a part of the work environment, part of the work experience. But it's also someone that is critical about your work. You're never gonna do better work if you're never critiqued of your work. Like and obviously like sometimes they'll sugarcoat it. They'll make it sound a little nicer. But as long as they are being critical about just telling you, yeah, you should probably start over on this project or this task. I think an ideal boss is someone that is knowledgeable in the industry that they're in, is critical about the work that their employees are doing, but also feels like you're just part of a team with them. Like they're not like your boss, like all the way up here, where like you feel afraid of talking to them. But they're like, I mean, David is sitting in the same desk as us.
So Maeve, do you love this David?
I adore David so much.
Is he your ideal boss in
he
every
really
position?
is. My interview with the team was over Zoom, and I forgot the word for office culture. And he goes, "Do you have any questions for us?" And I said, "Yes, I have one, but I forgot the phrasing for it, so I'm just going to ask it to you." And David like leans in his seat. He's like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And I go, "What's the office vibe?"
Vibe girl.
No, he called me Vibe Girl for a couple weeks after that. And it's his favorite story. And yeah, he's just he can play with us. He can be funny. He can take jokes and give them. Okay, Hope, how would your former colleagues describe you?
Oh,
Loud.
yeah, probably. I'm trying to think. It's been difficult because I haven't had. It's not like with retail, you're working with different people usually because not everyone works the same hours, and I don't know. We have a lot of fun. I know that there's times where I was like so serious is probably too serious for them, and I'm very like outgoing, and I am loud just because I have fun, and I like to get things done. There's times where I'm just like so driven. That's only the thing that's things that are happening. No fun, all work. And then there's times where it's all fun, no work. All work, no fun, all fun, no work. But I'm driven, outgoing. Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing I think that colleagues would describe me as. Elian, how would your colleagues describe you?
there's this thing of, I mean, like you said, I mean, I've come into this office and I've done the work, and I always try to like do it effectively but quickly. Like, I think I'm driven to get a good result out, but also learn through that result. So I feel like I would be described as kind of like driven and also like just open to learning. I think there was this question that I asked during my interview this week, which I feel was like a banger question, by the way. Like, ask that question. It's such a good question that it's just like I asked them, like, so let's say, because it's also like a role play for me, between me and the interviewer. I asked them, like, let's say I get this position. I come in and I start working with you guys beginning of this coming year. And let's say now we're 3, 4, 5 years from now. What would put me to be as like one of the, like, an effective, high achieving worker in your team? David gave us a little crash course on interviews and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, yeah, if you tell them like, oh, that's a good question, they go like, oh, I know, thank you. Like, the interview will be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, in their mind. So asking them also a question that kind of places you already in their office, in their space next to them, makes them also like believe that like you're already there, kind of. You're already like halfway there. Maeve.
Sir.
Please tell me how your coworkers would describe you.
I have been described as incredibly coachable,
Ooh.
where my supervisor was trying to hype me up about a project that was just taking forever, and he again didn't want to like shut me down. And I go, Blake, also shout out Blake. We love him as well. We love him as well. He was like, I don't want to like shut you down on this, but this project isn't really going the way I want it to go. And I was like, okay, pivot me. And he told me the direction I needed to go, and I sat down and I did the work, and I did not get distracted, and I just crushed that thing out and then shipped it to him. And he's like, wow, you're actually like super coachable, Maeve. I'm like, thank you. I know.
What motivates you in like your professional experience or just your everyday life?
Yeah, so this was actually a great question that I was asked in my veterinary clinic interview. And when I was sitting there, I was like, that's a good question. Give me a moment.
And the interviewer's like, oh my God, thank you so much.
They love it when you say give me a moment, because it gives them time to take more notes.
I know, because I talked a lot too, so they're still writing. What motivates me is, like, I don't want to sit still all the time, so I like fast work if possible. And I like to be able to do more and grow in it. Like, I don't like sitting still and doing the same task day to day. Another thing that motivates me, honestly, is just being valued. And then if I am doing good work, like, I want to see that somewhere. And usually that comes to money, right? Because I gotta live. I gotta be able to.
Yeah, Kraft mac and cheese isn't gonna buy itself.
Yeah. Exactly. So.
Speaking of answers, Maeve,
Give us an answer.
what motivates you?
Honest to God, I am motivated by just having people around me. Even if it's just like, I'll be working on something and I'll see David at his desk. Shout out David. I'll see David I'm just going to send him a clip of every time we say shout out someone on the team.
Send him a, what's it called? Just a collage of all day.
Yeah, a compilation.
A compilation,
Send a compilation of every time I look directly at the camera and go, shout out David. But yeah, even if it's just David at his desk working on something, not even looking in my direction, I'm just like, my boss is here. I need to work and be efficient in my work. And then there are other times where I come into work and I have all my stuff and I've had like a stressful day at school or something, or just a stressful day existing because because
Real.
it's so rough sometimes. And I'll walk in, and every time I come in, someone in the office, usually Blake, shout out Blake, will be like, hey Maeve, how are you? How's your weekend? What are you doing? And I'm like, I got my hello, I can do my work now.
Yeah, I know. It's the people that are around you that I seriously think make or break it. Because if you have terrible coworkers. Like, you don't want to be there. But if you, like, I used to work with my best friend, and I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, it was so much better than, like, not having that.
I think one of the horror stories that I got interviewing for positions was I went to this office and they interviewed me in person for like the second interview. And I was asking them, like, they gave me this tour of their office and it was all cubicles with like really tall walls. And the guy that was telling me about the office, he told me, yeah, we just recently restructured the office like a few months back so that there's minimal walkthrough through the cubicles so that whoever's working at that cubicle barely sees people walking past them so that they don't get distracted. But I was like, that's so sad.
You know how many things I could, like, be doing in the cubicle if no one's paying attention? You know how, like, how little work would be?
How many levels of Candy Crush would be absolutely decimated
It's
by
what
you?
I'm saying. That is a horror story, yeah, for sure. Tall walls.
And they were proud of it too, which is where they're like, yeah, our engineers, like they were saying people liked it better because they weren't being distracted by their coworkers passing
Introverts.
by and stuff like that, which I guess they were all engineers, but also like I love our office because it's all open. It's like a studio space. We're all open. The desks are all like around each other. I can turn around and just look at my boss straight in the eyes and be like, does this look good? Like flip my screen and be like,
David!
Shout out David!
Shout out David.
I don't know you, but shout out David!
But I think, yeah, like it's just that of it's a horror story. Like that they are proud of just like in some way alienating each coworker by like keeping them in that little box.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out Jason.
Elian, would you like to offer some words of wisdom to the next generation of industrial designers?
I guess I will. Every project will be a reflection of yourself, and whenever you put in a portfolio or talk about an interview, people will tell whether you enjoyed it or not. And enjoying it doesn't mean doing exactly what you wanted to do, exactly the product, exactly the quality that you wanted, but it will be if you had fun with it. I think if you don't enjoy what you do, then you will hate what job you get, whether it's your dream job or not in industrial design or outside of industrial design. It sounds redundant, but I think have fun with it. Have fun with your projects, have fun with your friends, meet people, make lasting impressions on others, not because you want to impress them, but because you want to be able to shoot them a text 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And you want them to remember you by how much fun they had working on this project with you or how much fun they had being around you. Maybe, who knows, maybe that person will help you find a job or will work on a project with them eventually that you feel will be so much more fulfilling than if you had like kept quiet and put your head down and just gotten through to your diploma.
Sage advice. Hope, give us your advice.
Okay. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to ask those questions. I'd be more scared to not know the answer later on or not having that opportunity to ask. Don't be scared to try something just because it looks hard and that you've never done it before. Go, like, Google it. Everyone is posting about things. So, like, just figure out how to do it and just sit down and do it. If you have to cry first, cry about it, and then you'll do it. It's okay. Just don't be scared to try something just because you've never done it before or just because you think that you're going to fail. Don't be scared to fail. I am a senior, and I'm doing my senior project, and I am terrified right now. But I'm telling myself, just do it. Because if I don't, it won't get done. And then I will fail. I will fail my class if I don't get this thing done. So don't be scared when you're younger. Figure it out then. Ask a ton of questions that your professors want to help you. At least most of them do. Ours do.
Shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt.
Shout out
Matt.
Jason.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out Subine. Shout out Bruno.
Shout out Jacob. He's
Shout
Shout out
Grit.
Jacob. Shout out Grit. And
shout
even
out
the
Grit.
new guys. Shout out Mike. Dude.
Mike.
Shout out Mike.
Shout out Mike. Shout out even Pete. Shout out even the ones that are gone. Shout out Neubauer.
Yeah.
Shout out
Yes.
Dan. Like all these
Shout
professors.
out Alex.
Shout out Alex.
And shout out Lexi.
Shout out Lexi. Shout out Lexi. And shout out Akshay, too.
Yeah.
Like, all these professors are making a lasting impression on us, and they will continue to make lasting impressions on other people. But also, they will make lasting impressions on other people through us, through the work that we do, and also the way that we talk about them. I mean, even Blake, even people like that are like working right now talk about their professors still.
So Maeve, what would be your advice?
My advice is to not ever lock yourself into one aspect of industrial design, because we're soft goods girlies.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We sew all the time. You're the CAD guy, but also you do woodworking, and even though you say you can't sketch, you can sketch. And I think we have a lot of fun. I at least have a lot of fun when I dip my toe into something that I haven't worked on in a while, like Blender. I'm teaching myself Blender again.
I swear Blender and CAD is like you learn.
You learn
every
time
once you
you
get off
open
and
the
then you're like
program.
crap, relearn.
Yeah.
Relearn.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important that we don't lock ourselves into one specific aspect. Like, I'm going to go to school for shoes and I'm going to do shoes. That can,
Shout out Nico.
Shout out Nico. Shout out Colin. Shout out Eric, who did the orthotic shoes
Oh yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Shout out the graduated class, and shout out the graduating class.
Woo.
Shout out us.
Shout out us, dude. No, but I think it's really important that we keep our toolkit of things we know about industrial design as open as possible, and not just be like, I know how to sew, so I'm going to sew for the rest of my life, and that's all I'm going to do. Because you're going into like vet medicine.
Yes, and I can relate to this because I was always taking grit soft goods classes, and then I leapt. I jumped off that cliff. I switched out of one of her classes, and I took Jason's class.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out Jason.
And
And
Grit.
honestly,
And Grit. Shout out Grit.
Grit's class was awesome, and I would have loved to take it, but I knew that if I took it, then I wouldn't have a chance to know if I could do something else. And Jason's class like changed me completely as in like a designer, and I feel just a little bit more secure that I could actually do this. Like, I never thought that I would be a good designer because I'm like, I just don't know how to do anything other than soft goods. And because of this class, and now because of Mr. Matt, I will be able to like complete something so big that like I never thought I could.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been what are we calling this? The Industrial Designers Podcast. I have been Maeve.
And I have been Elian.
And I have been Hope.
And this is where we will sign off and wish you all
Good luck in your future endeavors.
good luck in the endeavors. Good luck with watching this.